Hi everyone, I'm Giovanni and today with us Senior Market Analyst Matti Greenspan with the latest market updates. So Matti, can you give us an update about the last events in the market?
Yeah, so Bitcoin crossed $10,000 over the weekend. Even popped its head above 11,000 briefly at two different points. At the moment, we've got a nice ascending triangle over here. A lot of momentum right now.
And what about other altcoins like Litecoin, Ethereum? Did you see any of these altcoins leading the last rally?
Bitcoin is firmly in control of this rally. It's up about 10% on the week, whereas some of the other altcoins, most of them are around 3, maybe 4%. NEO is also flying. I don't know about that. It's 28%, but I wouldn't say that NEO is really leading the market. Definitely all of the focus from the mainstream media and from crypto enthusiasts is around Bitcoin.
What's the difference between the current pattern of Bitcoin compared to the one that we observed during the 2017 bubble?
Yeah, that is an excellent question, Giovanni. And what I can say is that last time Bitcoin rose, the first time Bitcoin rose above $10,000 per coin back in late 2017, it was amidst kind of FOMO-driven rally. And what I can say is that this time around, this $10,000 more reflects the true value, and it seems a lot more sustainable given current adoption rates. Here we can see the transaction rate in Bitcoin. In 2017, it did spike up to about 4.5 transactions per second, but it didn't stay there for very long. That was, based on the speculation and hype, there was a big spike in the transaction rate. Actually, what we can see is throughout 2017, so since about January, the transaction rate has been largely remained above 3.5 transactions per second. So we can see these days there's a lot more usage of the blockchain, and that basically contributes to its valuation. We can also look at the level of activity on local Bitcoins, which is a peer-to-peer trading site, which also reflects real-world usage much more than we would see at exchanges, which is more speculative. And what we'll notice here is that since the overall volume at local Bitcoins rose above $50 million around September 2017, which is about here, and it actually has not gone significantly below that since. So meaning that all that time from then until now, we have a lot more activity on the blockchain. So this is a rapidly growing industry. 2017 brought us awareness. It basically, during that time, the entire world was just kind of figuring out what Bitcoin is and what it's all about. And today, ever since then, we have that awareness. And this rally is driven by more fundamentals.
Can you tell me something about price levels?
Yeah, so overall, it's very clear that the move above 10,000, which was a strong psychological resistance level, was a big driver. And now we can see very clearly the upward trajectory of this market. So if we start drawing our support and resistance levels, we'll see that we're just at the top of this channel at the moment. So if we draw our support here along the bottom, and then our resistance here along the top, we can notice that we're quite at the top of this channel, which would normally mean that we could be due for a pullback. If we do see a pullback, we can probably expect that 10,000 level gets broken again down to the downside, possibly testing that 9,000 level, which was a resistance in early June. But it doesn't have to. Right now, like I said, we have an ascending triangle on the short term. We could very well get a break to the upside, so we'll have to wait and see. What I do want to note is that break above 10,000 happened on strong volume. We can see in Masari Crypto, the real 10 across the 10 biggest exchanges is trading at $1.6 billion. That's a big number. That's more than double what it was a week ago, almost triple. So definitely this move is coming with strong volume.
Regarding a recent article published by Cointelegraph, in which there are 4 reasons why this time Bitcoin can break the $20,000 all-time highs. So the reasons included in the article are institutional demand, as opposed to the retail back in 2017, and much better network fundamentals, and macroeconomic problems within the fiat world. So do you agree with this kind of analysis?
100% I agree. And actually, I'll go you one further. About a week ago, I posted a poll on my Twitter account, and those were the 4 options that I gave to people. So not only are those the main drivers, but we can also see kind of what people are thinking are of those main drivers moving the price more. So first of all, institutional investors, technicals and momentum, greater adoption, and then the macroeconomic picture. It seems that most of the respondents on this poll were saying that institutional investment, the speculation that larger players are coming into the market, Facebook, we're talking about Bakkt, we're talking about Fidelity, we're talking about in Japan, they have Line, which is a big messaging app over there, which is set to open their own crypto exchange. So we have a lot of excitement that larger players are about to enter the market. But overall, I would say that article is spot on. Those are, in conjunction, the 4 main drivers.
Thanks a lot, Mati. See you next week.
Thank you very much and have an awesome day.
And as always, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get more content on the latest market updates.
Hi guys, as you might know, Cointelegraph has its own merch store. And right now we have a special offer for all our subscribers. Use the promo code HODLERSDigest30 to get a 30% discount on anything in our store. But for those of you who want even more, we have an extra special offer. Put what you think Bitcoin's price will be on Monday, July 1st in the comments below. Then on Monday, we'll look at all your answers, and whoever's guess is most accurate gets a $50 store credit.
Yeah! Alex, Bitcoin has reached almost 13,000 today. It's the first time since December 2017. Do you expect it will run breaking the 20,000 high maximum point soon, or we will see Bitcoin falling back soon again?
Well, I can't be sure one way or the other, but I think there are a lot of reasons why this rally that we're experiencing right now has a lot of legs and why it could go a lot higher. The first thing is that we're coming off of a cyclical low where Bitcoin hit a price of around $3,200 from a high of about 19,000. Now that drawdown from peak to trough is one of the most severe that we've ever seen. So the price right now is kind of like a beach ball that's been held underwater, and it's been pressed down and pressed down. And as it gets released, it starts to move quite violently. So I think just based on that cyclicality, there's a lot more room to run. But there's some very specific reasons why I think the price could continue to go higher. The first is that we're now less than a year away from the next halving. So that's when the mining reward gets cut in half for miners, which means that there will be a smaller or lower supply growth, which means that there, potentially could be greater demand based on what's available in the supply. The second reason is that more recently in the news, we've seen governments announcing basically a never-ending quantitative easing. So effectively, they're planning on cutting interest rates and potentially putting themselves in a currency war against others in order to make their exports more competitive and make their economies more stimulated. And now we've seen gold, which I think is a decent proxy for Bitcoin, breaking out of a 6-year trend line, and Bitcoin obviously following along suit. And then the most recent thing is this announcement by Facebook that they're launching their own cryptocurrency, Libra. Now, I don't think Libra and Bitcoin are competitors with one another. I think they're very different. Libra is a permission system that exists inside of a corporate ecosystem. Bitcoin is a permissionless cryptocurrency that can be used by anyone. But I think what Libra will do, and what it's helped to get people to realize basically, is that there's a lot of enterprise interest in this. And as more and more big companies create on-ramps into this digital asset ecosystem, they are potentially bringing on board billions of new customers. So if you've got 2.4 billion Facebook customers who have access to wallets where they can buy and sell Libra, that means they could also potentially buy and sell Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. And so you're going to go from 50 million to billions of people we're finally going to be in this ecosystem, and I think that's a catalyst which will continue to drive the price higher. So there's a lot of good things happening right now. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish, and the most interesting thing actually is that interest from retail hasn't really moved at all during this entire rally. If you look at Google search results for buy Bitcoin, it's moved slightly up, but compared to the last cycle, it's barely moved at all. So what we're seeing is a lot of the buying coming from institutions, high net worths, crypto asset funds, and people who are sort of more familiar with the asset class. What we haven't seen are more traditional vanilla style investors. So I think as that group moves into the space, we'll begin to see the rally sustain itself.
I want you to comment on another statement that was made recently by Eric Voorhees, the Shapeshift CEO. He said that, as you said, we are seeing an increase in the adoption of Bitcoin. It's getting more and more mainstream, but that's accompanied by another factor, which is the network will get congested and fees will go up, according to Eric Voorhees. So what do you think about this issue? Is it a problem?
Well, I'm not sure that it's a problem for price. I think that there's enough demand for Bitcoin as a store of value that network fees are actually not really an issue. But I think if you want to see Bitcoin succeed as both a form of digital gold and as a global payment system, then you do need to resolve this issue. And I think that's probably going to be an inhibitor towards mainstream growth as a payment tool rather than just as a store of value. But there are obviously, potential solutions to that. The Lightning Network, which is scaled significantly during this bear market, and that's what's very interesting, obviously, is when you see tons of growth and development and building happening during periods when people aren't paying attention to the price, so that when the market turns, there actually is greater capacity. And I think Bitcoin, still has the deepest technical teams working on it today, and they're solving a lot of these problems. But I do agree that it's an issue, and if it's not solved, it will mean that Bitcoin won't reach its full potential, though I still think there's enough potential for the price to go higher.
We registered a clear dominance of Bitcoin. Over 60% of the market is dominated by Bitcoin. Why do you think other altcoins are struggling compared to Bitcoin?
Well, I think Bitcoin is sucking the oxygen out of the room, for one. So there isn't really a lot of demand yet for a lot of these so-called altcoins. And generally speaking, in the early stages of a rally, people tend to buy the leader and not the laggard. So you buy the largest, most liquid, most mature asset within each category. And you can see that, with Bitcoin versus altcoins, and you can see it right now with gold versus silver, right? Silver's not doing that much, but gold is. But typically what happens over time, especially in the crypto market, is that as Bitcoin prices increase, people have a wealth effect where all of a sudden their holdings are worth a lot more. And they're looking to rotate down market into things that are smaller that could potentially perform as well as Bitcoin had in the past. Now, I'm not sure that that's going to happen for every single altcoin. So if you're a bag holder and you're sitting on some random altcoin, I'm not suggesting it's going to go higher. I think this time around, because the market's more mature and because there's more value that you can actually identify in each of these different crypto ecosystems, I think that certain ones will outperform and others will not. And I think there will be hundreds of thousands of alts that won't participate in any rally whatsoever, but I do think a few will, because I do think that some of these alternative coins in these different crypto ecosystems have tons of value that has yet to be unlocked, and as a result, the price will go a lot higher.
Can you mention a couple of those?
I can say the ones that I think, so like Ethereum, for example, has actually participated in this rally. So it bottomed at around 80 and it's now around 300. So in terms of a trough to where we are now, it's actually roughly the same. And Litecoin and some of the others are like that as well. If you move further down market, though, you'll see that some of them haven't participated at all. And what we see is that a lot of the so-called like protocol tokens basically have not really performed. The ones that launched after Ethereum and are still sort of laggards. And I would suspect that the ones that are have deep markets that are widely traded and widely held will be the ones that will perform. I think it's based on those metrics. I'm not going to name specifics at this point.
Thanks a lot, Alex. See you next time.
Thanks for having me on.